In this video we are going to show basic information on installing whole house filter systems. They come in single whole house system, dual like this one here that we'll be using today, and then a triple would have 3 housings. One thing that can be done, if your inlet is on the left, we run our units in on the left, out on the right, and they show in and out on the units. And they also use a pressure relief button on the inlet side of the filters. Now we've taken this one out and drilled it out for a gauge system. Some will order with gauges, some not. So if you don't have the gauges, you don't have that, but you'll have a pressure release button in its place. Anyway, on the in and out, a person can, if your plumbing comes from the right and goes left, you can actually dismount the bracket from the filter housings, turn it around, and your in would be over here. Of course, your bracket back would be back here, and your out over here. So it can be used either way. Gauges will not be installed in the unit when you get it because of shipping damage that we've seen. So you can take it out, and the first thing you can do is take your filter housings off of the unit and set them aside. And you can, if you did get a gauge system, you can put some Teflon tape on your gauge. Usually take the piece to be taped into your left hand, start on the bottom side of the fitting, bring it up around, and then wrap it that direction. And I'll wrap this one 7 times. And of course the reason you wrap it in a certain direction is so when you thread it into the fitting, the tape won't come off on the way in. And we like to use some Teflon paste also on these fittings, and it won't harm plastic or anything, but it also makes a very good seal. If you use both, you usually don't have a problem with leaks. And you don't need much, just a little tiny bit on the surface. And then thread the gauge in. Okay. Another thing, the next thing you want to determine is exactly where you're going to install the filter housing. And if you have that picked out already, be mindful that these have a lot of weight to them, even without water in them. The 10 and the 20-inch systems are very heavy, so make sure you secure them very well to the wall. Always make sure you have enough space below so you can get your filter housings on and off without hitting anything. Once you've determined that, get your holes drilled, get the system mounted to the wall, then you can start plumbing. If you have a pipe coming straight across and you're going to put this right in the pipe, well, you'll have to shut your water off and cut your pipes to install your filter system. Now this particular one is in on the left, out on the right, and just to give you some examples, of course this is a 1-inch being a big blue system. We have 3 different pipe materials here. The copper, standard 3/4 copper, it's called 3/4, and the CPVC 3/4 right there in CPVC. It's kind of a tan colored. And then we have the new PEX pipe that is also 3/4. Now all these, like again, are called 3/4, but they are actually 7/8 of an inch outside diameter. And if you have any of these 3 types, it's real easy to hook up with what we call a quick connect fitting that has an O-ring down inside and some grippers. Just for an example, I'll show you the quick connect. Of course, you want to cut your pipe good and straight, take all the burrs off of no matter what material you have, and all you have to do is slide the pipe into that type of a fitting. This being 1 inch, you would need a reducer bushing on your quick connect fitting to install there. Thread these in, thread your fitting in, and with plastic pipe you normally have some play so you can bring that in, but make sure you have your cuts long enough to do that job. There again, this fitting will fit all three styles of pipe. They make the same type of connectors in 1 inch if you have 1 inch pipe already, and that will thread directly into your filter housings. Of course, you'll use Teflon tape, and we've found with these particular housings that they're a little looser than some threads. You can see this reducer bushing threads all the way in and bottoms out. So we've found that you need probably about 30 wraps of Teflon tape. I know that might sound like a lot, but in putting these together, that's what we've found that you need. Teflon tape and paste usually makes the seal really good. But you can get these, we have them on our website in 1 inch and 3/4 inch males. Now if you get the gauge system, you'll also have the ball valves with those. There again, and you'll get the nipples in between. Thread at least 30 wraps of Teflon tape onto the nipples for fitting into the filter housings. We do have different filter housings available. You can buy this unit in blue or clear. The clear filter housings are only going to be available in 10-inch length, and they come from a different company. Their filter housing threads are tighter, so you only need about 10 to 12 wraps of tape on the clear system threads. When you thread your nipple into the ball valve, you only need about 10 or 12 wraps of tape, because the ball valves are a tighter thread also. And again, this is what we found over time works well. If you want to install this and not have leaks to begin with, you need to do that and use the Teflon paste on it also. Now there are some other types of pipe available, galvanized pipe and regular PVC pipe. If you have those, you'll have to get fittings for these housings, and I'm thinking you're probably going to need to use also about the same number of wraps of tape. If you have galvanized, what you have to do is cut your pipe and unthread it from the nearest connection, and then maybe start with a different type of pipe up to the filter system. We can go to the outlet side and do the same thing with another ball valve, and the reason for 2 ball valves, of course, is to isolate the filters. You won't have backflow of water coming in when you change filters. So you can shut both valves off, push your pressure release button, and change your filters. When you get your inlet done, then you move to your outlet side and plumb it in the same fashion. And then the other option on these particular filter systems is a UV light for bacteria control. If you have a UV light, it will come with the clips installed, and we have the UV system already set up here, and you can go to another video and look exactly how to set that up if you haven't looked at it yet. But it will clip right into these clips like that, and we will supply a piece of flexible stainless steel tubing for your ultraviolet hookup. And there again, you can run these either direction. It doesn't make any difference on the in and out on the UV, so if you happen to turn your bracket around, run your plumbing the other way, you can do that. Make sure you are close enough for electricity for your ultraviolet light. If it's closer on the left end, you can turn this over and put that on the other end. The flexible stainless steel pipe will thread into a 3/4. It comes in a 3/4 size. If you have the 1-inch ball valves or just the 1-inch housings, you'll need to thread this on, and it's fairly snug, so you only need about 4 or 5 wraps of tape on the reducer bushing to the stainless steel. Then when you get this initially, it'll be straight. It'll take the 30 wraps again of tape over here on this side, and these will slide. These ultraviolet stainless steel cylinders will slide in these clips wherever you need to put it, and then this can be bent out, and they're very flexible. And this can be installed with the threads pointing out, or actually can go up if you like, if it works better for your plumbing. This can be brought up and slid down just wherever you need to go with it, but for this video we'll just do it this way. You don't need any tape on these. Using a stainless steel, it's got a rubber seal in here that will seal up to the fitting on the UV. Hand tighten and then snug with a adjustable wrench. Another half, 3/4 of a turn. There again, if it seeps a little when you turn it on, you can always snug it some more. And channel locks or slip joint pliers are a good tool to have for the various fittings. A lot of these fittings are too large for the adjustable wrench unless you have a really big one. So slip joint pliers are a very good tool to have available. For PEX pipe, a good pair of cutters works well. You can get these in just the pivot type here or the ratcheting type cutter. On filter housings, once we get this system mounted to the wall, plumbed up, and we're ready to install filters and filter housings, the filter housings come with an O-ring seal, fits in the groove. Just make sure that that's in the groove. I like to take a little bit of, happens to be silicone grease, and you can use Crisco or some type of a food grade grease or oil if you don't have some silicone, and it just helps when you put these housings on. Helps them to spin. Once they start getting snug, it won't stick and try to stretch the O-ring. Sediment goes in the inlet side, the first side, and it fits over that center piece in there. And then if it's mounted on the wall, you can just thread it right straight up on there. And usually, again, hand tight is good. I didn't bring a filter wrench, but you'll get a filter wrench with the system, and you can always snug them just a little bit to make sure they're tight. The carbon filter, we'll do the same thing with the O-ring. Just give it a little bit of lube. And the carbon filter comes with little seals on the end to seal up so the water doesn't get past the carbon. Make sure that seal's in good. I like to put them in horizontally. That way you know the seal didn't fall out. And there again, it'll set over the center bump in the bottom. And you can put just a little bit of lube on the seal, so when it contacts the top, it'll spin and not try to grab a hold of it and put it out of place. Just thread it back nice up on the cap, and you're ready to test your system. If you do have the ball valve and gauge system, it's a good idea to go ahead and turn your ball valves off initially. Turn your water back on. Make sure you don't have any leaks up to the first ball valve. Then turn the first ball valve on, inlet ball valve, and turn them on slowly and allow the water to fill and pressure up the system. And you can sometimes find leaks, if there are any, hopefully not. Find them before you turn on your whole house system with the second ball valve.